Here we go. Okay, so let us do our warm-up. We've been using Hashki Venu as a warm-up. So wherever you are at, let's go ahead and start just getting the rhythm. So I like to start just on a C chord is what I do. I think it's always good to just use something really easy, something comfortable to get warmed up on. So let's go ahead and first get the rhythm. We get our C chord played with our left hand, and then down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. So just try that. Barb, I know you're newish. Where are you at with this? Should we?
Oh, I unmute.
Oh, now you muted yourself again, though. No, I heard the first half. Sorry.
I am just learning the chords. I am brand new.
Cool.
And I already wrote the string.
So when you're doing it, just go ahead and do the very basic parts. One of the things that I keep saying is wherever you're working, pick one thing that you're working on and focus on that until you can do that, and then move it to the next thing. So if it's easiest for you to work on the chord and the chord switches, start there. Or if you want to just focus on the strum and not worry about the chords at all, that's fine too. Okay, for everyone else though, let's go ahead and get into our rhythm. So down, down, up, down, 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 up. Okay, just on that C for now. Here we go. 3, 4. Now we're gonna go to the G. Here we go. G. 2, 3, 4. A minor. 2, 3, 4. Now to F. 2, 3, 4. Okay, back to the C. We're gonna do another set of 4. 1, 2. This time on the fourth one, we're gonna do something just like this. Do a transition kind of strum on the fourth one. Down, up, down, 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 up, transition, A minor. And I'm just doing all downs and ups for the transition there. F, F, the fourth one, back to C. Now just 2 of them. G, G, A minor, F, F. 2 again. Have the second one be that transition kind of strum to let you know that you're about to switch. Now let's just go to 1 strum. Down, down, up. Sorry, 1 measure. Yep, 1 set of strums. Down, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, A minor, down, up, F. Okay. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Okay, how are we feeling? How'd that go for everyone? Yep. Good. Okay, any questions, any thoughts? We're pretty comfortable with that as a warm-up by now, yeah? Okay. So let's go ahead and run through some of the other things we've learned, just to put those chords to use. Let's apply that to a different song. Let's do, when did we do This Land Is Your Land? Oh, Inauguration Day. That's what it was from. Okay, let's try that. Share, small me. There we go. and I am blocking the A minor and the F chord. Let me see. I can fix that. Okay. So let's go ahead and try again. Same chords, slightly different order and feel, just to apply them in different places. A little tuning trick, by the way, if you haven't realized this one yet. Your top string, the string closest to your chin, if you put your finger on the second fret, should be the same note as the bottom string. So if those two do not sound the same, something's out of tune. Okay, now I'm doing a slightly different strum here. Down, down, up, down, up, 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 down, down, up, down, up. But you can do your other strum too if you want. You can do down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Really, the only difference is you're skipping some extra ones in the strum, right? Remember that your wrist should be going up and down without stopping the whole time. The wrist should always keep the rhythm. And the trick is, you know you're doing it right if when you say the strum, the words are already where your wrist is going. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, right? My wrist is already doing that. I don't have to change anything. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. This land is F. This land is C. From Cali G to the New York Sea. From the Redwood F to the Gulf Stream C to A minor, F, G, C. Okay, let's talk a quick little music theory one. I don't know if anyone noticed that final G, this land was made for you and me. I did a slightly different chord. I don't know if you heard it or saw it. So we're going to talk about what that chord is. So we played the G chord, right? And we're familiar with this G chord now. Oop. Barb wants to be let in again. Where are the participants? I don't see you on the waiting list or on the entry list, but as soon as I do, for sure. Oh, you have to jump out and come back in. Got it. Whenever you come in. Okay. So, this is... Oh, good. I'm glad the close-ups are helpful. This is our G chord, right? Just a reminder that we should be as close as we can to perpendicular coming in with our fingers, so that it's really the tips of our fingers that are pushing it down, right? Let's get it into focus there, but you can maybe see. Nope, won't come into focus, my fingers. But anyways, it should be right on the fingertips, coming in perpendicular. So this is our G chord. We're familiar with it now. What we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of flip it around, you'll see, and this string right here, this E string, where we've been using our third finger on the third fret, we're going to instead play that on the first fret. And we're going to use our first finger. And then we're going to use those other two fingers, our second and third, to sort of wrap around those other two spots where the G would have been. So, right, instead of it being this, just to look at it for a second. Oh, there's another couple folk in the waiting room. Instead of it being this, it becomes this. Right? So these two stay the same, and we're just switching whether it's there or there. Does that make sense to everyone? Visually? So So what we're creating is a seventh chord. Most chords, and I know that some of this is like music theory way over our heads, and for some of it it's way below what we know, but just figure it's important to give some of it, that most of the chords we've dealt with so far have the 1, the 3, and the 5. So a C chord has a C, it doesn't have a D, it does have an E, doesn't have an F, and it has a G. So a C chord is C, E, and G. 1, 3, 5. Did that make sense? If we turn something into, here, let me back away for a second. If we turn something into a minor chord, right, of course, the technical difference between a major chord and a minor chord is sad sounding, right? Here's a major chord. Here's the minor version of it. Right, you can hear it sort of emotionally. But the way that we do turn a major chord into a minor chord is we take that third, so C, E, and G, and we take that third and we just bring it down 1 fret, or a half step if you're familiar with music theory terms or piano terms. So instead of a C, E, and G, it becomes a C, an E flat, and a G. And that's a minor chord. But what we're dealing with here is a 7th chord. And what we're going to do with the 7th chord is we're going to add in the 7th note of the scale. So what we're doing with this G chord is by putting our first finger right here on an E string. First fret is going to be making an F note. That's an F that we're playing there. And we're adding an F to a G chord. This is G. Hold on, am I doing my strings wrong? E, no, that's an F right there. And this is a G chord. Yeah, sorry. This chord goes by a different name on guitar, and sometimes the things all jumble together in my head. So we're adding this F to the G chord, right? The 7th. It comes right before a G. F to G, so it's the 7th note, and it gives it kind of a bluesy flavor. And the thing about a 7th chord is it feels like it wants to resolve. It wants to go back to here. Do you feel that? Like, do you just feel emotionally how that 7th chord wants to go there, to that C? So look how I'm doing that too. It's just, and then I'm just gonna let go of everything but my ring finger and slide up a fret. So, when you're playing a song, let's go back here for a second. I know this is a long tangent, but hopefully this is useful to us too. When you're playing a song and you come to the end of a line, so down here, this land was made for you and me. C's our main chord in here, right? We start with C, we end with C. So that G is a perfect time to use that 7th chord, because it's going to go back to the C. Anytime you're going from that G to the C, you can always use that 7th chord. So, this land was made for you and me. F, G, C. It's actually a really nice chord progression on the ukulele to feel. Also, go ahead and play that F, right? And that index finger is going to stay still to move to a G7. So leave that index finger still, don't move it. And then put your ring finger, put your ring finger down at the bottom on the 2nd fret and your middle finger above it, right? And then you're just going to slide up a fret and let go of everything but your ring finger for the C. So F, G, 7, C. Let me show it to you with just me big. Here for a second. F, G7, C. Right, look particularly in the F to the G7. F, and then that just moves down and that drops there. G7, C. Okay. Let's try playing it now.
Hey Daniel, quick question.
Yeah.
Can you record this as you go instead of just doing homework at the end?
It is streaming live. It's streaming to our YouTube page right now.
Oh, it is.
Yep,
So it'll be recorded.
it's there. Yeah.
Yay.
It's there. I don't think it's picking up. Well, it should actually pick up what you all say through the microphone back into it, maybe. Yep. Okay. So, any questions on that? I know that that was a little music theory-ish. It was not just a little music theory-ish. It was music theory. But any questions on that before we try to play this?
Just a very nice progression. I've never used it before.
Yeah, I quite like it, and particularly on the ukulele, there's something about the way that the chord fingerings move that is very satisfying there. Okay, let's try this. Down, down, up, down, up. So you'll notice I always do this, and it's always a good idea to start a song by just playing a few measures of that first chord, whatever it is, to get into it. Here we go is F land, this land is C land, from Cal a regular G here to the New York C, from the Redwood F to the Gulf Stream C to A minor. Here we go. F to G7, now to C. Let's do that line again. F to G7 and to C. Okay, let's play the whole thing again, and this time, each time we have the G, let's do the G7. This land is F land, this land is C land, from Cala G7 to the New York C, from the Redwood F to the Gulf Stream C to A minor, F, G, 7, C. One last time that line, F, G, 7, C. Okay, how'd that feel? So these are the sorts of things that as you're progressing in ukulele become part of the fun of it. That while you're playing, to make something interesting, you take a regular chord and you play it as a seventh chord. And sometimes it's going to sound wrong. And you're going to hear it and you're going to be like, oh, that didn't work there. And you'll just kind of learn these rules by muscle memory, much more so than any sort of rule. You'll just have a sense of, oh, this would be a good time to make that a seventh chord. Or to play something funky, or, okay. As long as we're talking about funky options with the G, let's go back, and I think it was 2 weeks ago. It's been a while since I've been with y'all. Let's talk about that other G exercise that we started, the G sustain. So then we will have learned a number of different variations on a G chord. Okay. Here's our G. There's an idea in music theory called a sustaining note, right? A note that moves from one chord to the next chord and travels with it, even though you change chords. So this becomes part of how we name chords also. When we add in the two, so remember, going back for a moment, remember that a G chord is a G, the 1. We get our B, G, A, B, the 3, C, and a D chord for the 5, right? Or is there a C in G? Let's see. E. Well, we can figure this out easily. G. Yeah, sorry. It's a C, not a B, because, yeah, it's not minor. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to add in the second note, not to the chord also. So the A here. So it's really easy in a G shape because we're just going to lift up our index finger. So play that, your middle finger. Play your G, and then lift up your middle finger and let that bottom note ring. That's a G sus2. back to a G. Let it go, and it's a G sus2. So what we know by this is that this middle finger is giving us the third. Because if we let go of it, it's the 2. And if we put our pinky down right below where our ring finger is, it becomes a G sus4. So this is with the 4 in it, this is with the 3 in it, this is with the 2 in it. So we're gonna try that. So try to 1. Down, up, down, up. Okay, now we're gonna go to the 4, meaning put your pinky down. G sus4, G sus4, back to G, G. Now G sus2, lift up your middle finger and put it back down. Standard G, go to the 4 now, 4 with the pinky. Open it up. Regular G, lift it up for the 2. Now we're gonna do it faster. 2. Okay, G, 4, G, 2, G, 4, G, 2, G, 4, G, 2, G, 4. How does that feel to everyone? Yeah, Amy.
Is the name of it due to the finger that you are either adding or subtracting?
It's not the finger. This is what I tried to explain somewhat unsuccessfully. It's the second note in the chord that gets added to it. So when it's a G, you're going to add the A to make it a 4, the second note in the chord, or in the scale. G, A, B, C, D, E. Right, we're going with 7 all the way around. So that's adding an A.
Are you holding down a fret with your thumb?
I am not. My thumb is just hanging over awkwardly. I'm sorry. It's just the angle of the camera there. I'll try to move it out of the way more.
Daniel, I put my thumb down and it sounded good.
There you go. You can use the thumb. Certainly on guitar, I'll often fret a low string with my thumb.
Daniel?
Yeah.
So 1, 4, 5 is like a traditional regular chord. 1, 4, 5.
1, 3, 5.
Okay.
1, 3, 5 is a traditional chord. 1, 4, 5 is a traditional chord progression.
Progression. Okay. Okay. And then so we're doing 1, 2, 5 and 1, 4, 5.
Have we totally confused everyone here now? Is that official? Okay, let me try to take all of this apart for a moment.
It's so interesting. I love it. I'm just trying to grab it.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna see if we can do this. It's really the piano that makes the most sense to show this, so we're gonna see if we can zoom in on that piano over there. Sorry, you're seeing how messy this room is right now, too. Yeah, come on. Up, up. Okay. We can see the piano here. So on a, actually let's move it like this so we can really get the good angle. And zoom you back so you can see it. Okay, so on a piano keyboard, I'm not going to be able to see you all, so everyone sort of shout. Are you seeing my finger now? Or here?
Yes.
Right here? Cool. So, let's go ahead. Are you seeing my whole hand? Yeah? So this is a G chord. Right here. G, A, B, C, D. those three notes, G, B, D, make up a G chord. Or G major chord. When we're doing a G sus2, what we're going to do is we're going to have that 2 there instead of the 3. And if it's a G sus4, we're going to have the 4 there instead of the 3. So this is a standard G chord, a G sus2, or a G sus4. Did that make sense? Did I lose you all? Did that make sense? Could you see that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't see any of you when I was over there. So
Yes, that made sense.
good.
Thank you.
So that's what's going on with these susses. So one of the other things that happens with a sus chord is that it's not a major or a minor chord anymore, because it is the 3. It's that one in the middle that determines whether it's major or minor. And so if you cut that out, it's not major or minor. So it can play around with any. So you can replace, in a song, if you encounter a D minor chord, you can replace that with a D sus chord, or if it's a D major chord, you can replace that with a D sus chord. It's going to sound different. It's going to add a sound to it. It won't have that major or that minor feel to it. But it can be something that you play with whenever you encounter one of those chords. So we now have 3 different toys to play with on our G chord, right? We have our standard G chord, and then our 3 toys are our G7. We can make it a 7th chord. We can make it a G sus2 chord by lifting up our middle finger and letting that bottom string ring out. Or we can put our pinky down and make it a G sus4. So, now we're going to do This Land Is Your Land again, and I want us to play with these chords when we do it, and I'm going to show you how we do it here. So, this...
Daniel,
Yeah.
are you just moving your middle finger with the sus like you did on the piano?
So, I'm not moving my middle finger, I'm lifting up my middle finger here. It's not always going to be your middle finger, by the way, it just happens to be in this chord, right?
That's what I was wondering. On the piano, it's your middle finger, right?
Yeah, though in a piano too, you can create chord inversions that are in different shapes and things like that. So yeah, you lift it up so it rings out that bottom string to make it a 2, or you put your pinky down on that 3rd fret to make it a sus4. So what?
Spell sus.
S-U-S. It's just short for suspended. As in the 3rd has been suspended from the chord, so it's not a minor or a major chord. Okay, so let me show you how I'll use this. I'm just going to play this through. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York. Did you see what I did there? Because the beauty of it is, in the right spot, it almost always sounds good, whichever one you go to. So it should just be something you play with when you come to it. It's the same thing I'm doing here, by the way, on a C chord. I'm suspending that C chord. This land is your land, this land is my land. Here comes that G from California to the New York. Or you could instead play it as a 7th chord. Okay. So, some new toys. What do we think of these? Do these sound comfortable? Are they not comfortable? Are we excited about them?
I'm excited. I just have one question.
Please.
You can sort of just play around with them. I mean, there isn't exactly a right answer of what to play. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly correct. And that's exactly what they are here for and why we're talking about them today. For many of us, we're at the level where we can start really playing and playing around with these things and being like a little creative as we go, so it's not literally just exactly the same strum and exactly the same pattern and exactly the same everything. So yeah, that's exactly what these are here for, so that whenever you encounter this G chord now, particularly in songs that are in C, but you can use it wherever you want, try it out, you'll be able to tell whether it sounds good or not, that whenever you encounter this G chord, you can start playing around with this. We will make our way through some of the other suspended chords for the other shapes, but this G chord is so flexible immediately between those three, the seventh chord, the second, the sus2 and the sus4, that's where we're starting with it. Yeah, Linda.
I would just like to see you do that a little slower, because to keep the rhythm and change the chord seems hard.
Yes, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing either. Let's find out. I'm changing the strumming. Do you hear that? I'm going so that I'm hitting most. I'm actually hitting the down and the up on on all of it when I'm doing it. For Tom Petty fans, you can practice free falling with this, right? It's the. She's a good girl, loves her mama, right? Because I'm free. The whole song is just this. I'm free falling. That's all that happens the whole song. Verses and chorus. So that's a great one to practice. What is it? But you don't know that chord yet, though, do you? This is Breakfast at Tiffany's. You say we got nothing. Anyways, there's a lot of things you'll notice that do that exact same play with that exact same G chord shape. Okay, anything else on this before we move on a little bit?
Perfect, Daniel. If it's the G chord and then it turns into the G minor, you're just moving your finger back, right? But then on the A minor and the A7, you're moving your finger completely. So there's no rhyme or reason to changing from the G.
So there is rhyme and reason. Let's go through the rhyme and the reason here. So do we remember the notes that are in a G chord are G, A, B, C, D. G, B, and D. The 1, the 3, and the 5, right? In music, we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and start back over. So the note after G is A. G is the 1 in its own chord. B is the 3. D is the 5, right? Does that make sense? Is everyone on the same page with that? So what we're doing here is we're making sure that every string, when it rings, is going to be a G, a B, or a D. So the top string right here is already a G. So we don't need to do anything to it. Then we get our C string, but a C is not in that chord. So we start going up. C sharp, that's not in the chord. D is in the chord. So that's where we put our finger. And now we've got a G and a D, right? We've got the 1 and the 5. And then that next string is going to be our E string. E's not in the chord. F's not in the chord. F sharp's not in the chord. G is. G's the 1. So we're going to go back there, right? And now we have those two put down. And now we have our lowest string, which is an A. A's not in the chord. A sharp's not in the chord. B is in the chord. So we have G, B, G, D, G, B. So we have the from, let me get both in so you can see what I'm plucking. Here's our G that just rings out. There's the 1, 5, 1, 3. So that string on the bottom here, our A string, right? This one right here, that is playing the third of the chord in this particular chord. But like in a different chord shape, everything's different. But everything is one of those notes. And that's what we're doing when we're fretting. So now that we know this bottom string right here, the A string is playing the third, what we know is all we need to do is move that down 1 fret to turn it into a minor. So we turn it into a G minor chord, right, which is a chord that we know, by doing that. Which is the same, right? All we're doing, it's a totally different fingering because it's not comfortable to take that middle finger and like slide it down like that. That's an awkward way to play it. Right, there's a G minor also. Real awkward to play it, not comfortable, but you can see it visually then that we're just sliding that one, right? Same chord obviously as that, but this is how we play it. Nope. So, going back here again, we may as well complete this as long as we're doing this. Since we know this is the 3 right here on the bottom, right, the A. So, if we're going to add in the 2 note of a chord, right, we're going to make it a sus2. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the 3, and we're going to replace it with a 2. So first of all, it's really easy to do that because we can just recognize that it's 2 frets down from there if it's a major, or 1 down from that if it's a minor already. Right, here's our G major to a G sus2. Here's a G minor to a G sus2. And here it works with both of them, right? Painted Black by the Rolling Stones is a riff on the D sus2. Sorry, I keep calling it a D. This is a D shape in guitar. A G shape with the sus2, the minor, and the 4. And I want it painted black, right? No colors anymore. I want... Anyway, if any Stones fans, I see Patty nodding along, yeah. For our 2, what we're doing is just adding in the 2. So G is the 1, A is the 2. So for the 2, we just let this A string ring out. And the 4, G, A, B, C. So we're going to take this. We're going to take this bottom string A sharp, B, C, and it's actually going to be a, there you go, right? And there you go with your C. A sharp, B, C. There's nothing between a B and a C. There's nothing between an E and an F and a B and a C. Everything else has a sharp or a flat between it. So that's our 4 right there. So okay, a lot of music theory that we did today, but hopefully this was good and we're at a place for it now. Thoughts?
I have one thing. When you say G is super flexible, is that as opposed to some other chords that are less flexible?
They're all flexible. The G shape on the ukulele or a guitar chord, a D shape on a guitar, is just really, you can see all of those little changes in such nice ways with the fingers. Whereas if we did the same thing to a C chord, it looks so different. You have to start fretting things up here like that that you don't visually see it in the same way. That's all that I meant. But we absolutely, right, like that's one of the things that'll come next is we're going to learn all of those. So for instance, we've learned our, well here, let's learn another chord by leaning into music theory for a moment with our last few minutes. As long as we've done this all day, we may as well end with it too. Okay, so we know our, I can put up the minor chord for everyone so we can see it. There you go. We know our D minor chord, right? So go ahead and play that D minor chord. Right? So, we're going to turn this into a D major chord, and it's really easy because we know that the only difference between a major and a minor is that the third in the chord, the 1, 3, 5, the 3, is going to be up 1 for a major and down 1 for a minor. So that's this one right here. So that's a really awkward way to play it. So this is our D major chord. It's just on the second fret. 1, 2, 3. And you let that bottom A string ring. You may find that it's easier to do this with one finger like that. But if you can, I encourage you to kind of cram 3 fingers in there, and I have pretty big hands and fingers, so if I can do it, you probably can. Though if you're on a soprano uke, it might be harder. I am not on a soprano uke. I'm on a tenor
Is
uke.
anyone else having trouble hearing?
You're not hearing me? What about now?
Danielle, we can't hear you.
Can't I hear you?
You don't hear me?
I hear Linda, but not you.
You don't hear me. I don't know why. Huh.
Well,
What about now? Any better? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Does anyone hear me? I don't know why it's not working. It was working before. What about now?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. It's not going to sync properly now. I apologize. Okay. So what I was saying is we've got, I don't know how long you lost me for.
You were starting to talk about the bar, making it a bar.
Great.
The D a bar now.
So what happens is we shift that third up a fret. So you can do it this way with 3 fingers. And I would really recommend doing it. I have kind of, bulky fingers, so if I can do it, you probably can do it. But if you can't, you can always just do it with 1 finger, sort of flattened like that. But if you can do it like this, the beauty is this is another great one, this D chord, for your sustaining. All with that ring finger. Lift it up for a sus2, put your pinky down for a sus4. How does that feel to folks? So you can put these together. I don't know if there's any U2 fans here. All I Want Is You is just playing with the sustaining, a sus2 of that D chord and a sus2 of the G chord. Just to be clear, I don't normally lift up my fingers that much when I'm taking them off of a ukulele and would not recommend it, but just trying to make it show on the camera. Okay. We did a lot of new addition things rather than new content things today. I'm really hopeful that at this point, many of us are comfortable getting the content on our own and finding the songs that we want on the internet. Is that true? Maybe, yes, no? Maybe next time what we'll do is we'll spend some time actually I'll take you through how I look up a song on the internet and how I find the chords and all. Well, we could do that now if you want, real quick. There's no reason not to. Yeah. Any other questions on you before we do that, though? Yeah, Amy.
The question on Euclid, I was just going to kind of pull the group, and I don't know, Daniel, this is short notice. Like, this Sunday is going to be 73 degrees.